Hey guys, in today's video we're going to talk about which one to buy. Should you buy an RT10 or should you buy a GTS? You know what, first of all, let's be honest. You gotta be realistic with yourself. Budget is the #1 criteria. If you're in the market for a Viper, the Gen 1s are the cheapest ones to buy, which are the RT10s, which I think kind of give people the idea that the second generation RT10s are cheap as well. And because the Gen 1 is slower than the Gen 2 GTS, I think a lot of people think that the Gen 2 RT10s are equally as performance-wise as the Gen 1s, and the GTS is this superior car, which is not true. So let's talk about it. When you look at buying a Gen 1 is the most hardcore Viper. That is where the passion began with the Dodge Viper. You had 400 horsepower, 465 foot-pounds of torque. Back in '92, that was a huge number. What the Viper did in the Gen 1 was unbelievable. And that's why a lot of people absolutely love the Gen 1. Now, when you compare it to a Gen 2 Viper, yeah, the Gen 2 is a much faster, much better vehicle than the Gen 1 because they had improvements that they made. It wasn't just that they changed from a smooth hood to this more radical looking hood that I absolutely love. They didn't just go from having the side exiting exhaust to a rear exiting exhaust. They didn't just go from having a plastic window that you insert to having real windows with bad window regulators. There's a lot of things that the Gen 2 has that the Gen 1 just didn't have at the time, including the better motor with the more horsepower and torque, 0-60 time and 3.9 versus the 4.6 seconds that the Gen 1 had. So yes, the Gen 2 RT10 is a lot faster than the Gen 1, but the Gen 1 is an amazing vehicle. So if you're somebody that's looking at getting into a Viper and you want an RT10, you don't care if it's a Gen 1 or Gen 2, then it's up to your budget on what you're able to afford. But when you're looking at a Gen 2 GTS versus a Gen 2 RT10, well, now you're looking at two cars that are equal far as performance. While yes, the Viper RT10 is a little quicker, 0-60, did it in 3.9 seconds, compared to the GTS at 4.0, the Viper RT10 truly is a lighter car. So the GTS is a little bit heavier than the RT10, plus the RT10 is a little shorter, it's at 43 inches, where the GTS I think is 45 inches as far as their height is concerned. So with that being said, the RT10 is an amazing car. But there is differences on why people would choose a GTS over an RT10. One of the biggest reasons is the aesthetics, right? Some people prefer that look that the GTS has over the RT10. You know, the Roadster is a car that, you know, I love the front, I love the side, but the back is kind of like, disappointing, right? The GTS looks much better from the rear than the RT10. But you can do more things on the GTS. You can put a large wing, you can put canards, you can put different carbon fiber pieces on there and make it look like a car from the 2017 era, right? The Gen 5 and the Gen 2 can look very similar if it's done correctly. Whereas the RT10 looks kind of silly when you put a big gas cap like the GTS has. If you put a big wing, if you do certain things on an RT10, it just doesn't look just right. Now, I would love to add a large wing on my car. I absolutely would love it. But honestly, I haven't been able to find one that looks good with the RT10. So with that being said, that's one reason why a person would choose a GTS over the RT10 is for making the car your own, to customize it. Where I think the RT10 looks best when it's left stock, far as the appearance is concerned. Of course, you can add rims and tires and all the other stuff, which is, I don't consider that modification necessarily. But far as performance-wise, the GTS and the RT10 is basically the same car. The same engine, same suspension. Yes, the GTS may handle better long-term, far as tracking abilities go, versus the RT10 with body roll and so on because of the fixed roof. But honestly speaking, performance that 99% of us would use, they're basically the exact same car. Top speed of these cars are over 190 miles per hour. Now, with that being said, what's the benefits of having the RT10? Well, the biggest benefit that you have with an RT10 is the removable top. And that is the one thing I absolutely love with the RT10, is having the ability to take off the top at any point and go cruising, and having the wind, or just having the feeling of a roadster. That is what I love about the RT10 that you can never get with the GTS. Now, a lot of times people ask me, why did I pick the RT10 over the GTS? Well, when I was looking at the Vipers, I was looking at both the Gen 1, the Gen 2, and Gen 3. Why? Because all those cars were within my budget on what I was willing to spend on a vehicle. So all three of those cars were cars I was seriously considering. Now, I did like the Gen 3 because it was a different style, right? But my heart was always with the first or second generation. So ultimately, when it came down to it, I went with what I grew up loving, which was a second generation Viper, right? Now, I did love the first generation as well, but I'm also married, and I know my wife getting in and out of the vehicle. Well, guess what, guys? I don't want her to get burned getting out, where she's going to hate the car even more than what she hates it now. So having a Gen 2, having the rear exiting exhaust is perfect, especially if you do a cat delete. If you do a cat delete on these cars, the side, the rocker panels, the side sills are very cool to the touch. You don't have to worry about getting burned getting in and getting out of the vehicle. And that is the one benefit I love about having a rear exiting exhaust, is it does go out the back and it gets very, very cool to get in and out of your vehicle. So there's no more burning yourself when you get out of the car. But having that vehicle, picking the RT10 over the GTS, was also due to price, right? What I got with my vehicle was a vehicle that had 20,500 miles. The GTS that I could find that was similar, newer year or older year, didn't really matter, was about $2,000 more when I got my Viper. I got my Viper at a fair value. And I'm really glad I did, because you know what? I wasn't looking for the best value Viper. I was looking for one that met all my criteria. Sure, there are some GTSs that were cheaper than my RT10, but they had prior accidents. There were other issues with the vehicle that I did not have with my vehicle. My car was really in great condition, and that's what I was looking for. It wasn't, again, looking for the cheapest car. I was looking for the car that met every single of my criteria. And my car was the car that met every single thing I was looking for. And that's the reason why I purchased the RT10. Now, when I purchased my RT10, I was also considering one of these blue and white GTSs. You know, I talked to my friend Yanni. We stayed up to like 11 or 12 o'clock because he had a Viper as well, when we were talking about the premium that the blue and whites have. And really, I don't understand totally why. Yes, the GTS blue and white is the most common color combo of all the second generation Dodge Vipers. And finally, a lot of times people ask me, is this my forever car? And I want to say yes. Guys, thanks for watching this video. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you prefer the GTS or do you prefer the RT10, and why? Guys, thanks for watching this video as always. God bless and take care.